मरन मोहन जू की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत स्मर भक्ति विरांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत स्मर भक्ति विरांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत स्मर भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतस्मर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतस्मर भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपनु गौरिया गुरु वार्ग की जय। सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ जीव गोपाल पतदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी की जाय। नाम अचार्य श्रीला ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री प्रबोधानंद सरस्वती ठाकुर की जाय। तदीय शुभ तिरुभाव तिथि की जाय। श्री चतुर्मास व्रत की जाय। व्रत पालन की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय राधिकाय प्रिणे श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातराजुहाव पुरेति तन्मयतया तरवोभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूत हृदयं निमानतोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना दिविज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकं। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते अनारविन्दम्। भज श्री चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत Kadarshivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, everybody. Dandavat Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Madhavi Didi, and Yashoda Didi. Dandavat Pranam. So now, today we are reading Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravarṭi Ṭhakur's Sārārtha-darśinī commentary on the 10th canto, Deliverance, Chapter 10, Deliverance of the Yamalārjuna trees. It's going to be the third time that we read all these translations in the past 3 days. Okay. So King Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, "O great and powerful saint, what was the cause of Nalakuvara's and Manigriva's having been cursed by Narad Muni? What did they do that was so abominable that even Narad, the great sage, became angry at them? Kindly describe this to me." Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravarṭi Ṭhakur ki jai. This chapter tells the commentary. This chapter tells the ancient story of Narad's cursing the air. Afterwards, the two sons, Nalakuvar and Manigriv, glorified Krishna for granting them a special liberation, namely Krishna Prem. The word tama in this verse means anger. What degraded activity did Nalakuvar and Manigriv do to incur the wrath of Narad and cursed? Sure. Okay. Verses 2 to 3. Shukadeva Goswami said, "O King Parikshit, because the two sons of Kuber had been elevated to the association of Lord Shiva, of which they were very much proud, they were allowed to wander in a garden attached to Kailas Hill on the bank of the Mandakini River. Of this, they used to drink a kind of liquor called varu, accompanied by women singing after them. They would wander in that garden of flowers, their eyes always rolling in intoxication." Verse 4. With the waters of the Mandakini Ganges, which were crowded with gardens of lotus flowers, the two sons of Kuber were young girls, just like two male elephants enjoying in the water with female elephants. Commentary. How did the two sons of Kuber enjoy in the Mandak? They entered the Ganga, which was adorned with clumps of lotuses, and began to play with young girls, just as an intoxicated elephant sports with his she-elephants. Verse 5. O Maharaj Parikshit, by some auspicious opportunity of two boys, the great saint Devarshi Narad once appeared there by chance. Seeing them intoxicated with rolling ice, he could understand their situation. Commentary. Seeing them, Devarshi could understand that they were intoxicated. Kshivano. That says Kshibana with a B. 6. Upon seeing Narad, the naked young girls of the demigods were very much ashamed. Afraid of being cursed, they covered their bodies with their garments. But the two sons of Kuber did not do so. Instead, not caring about Narad, they remained naked. Verse 7. Seeing the two sons of the demigods naked and intoxicated by opulence and false prestige, Devarshi Narad, in order to show them special mercy, desired to give them a special curse. Thus he spoke as follows. Commentary. Narad desired to curse Manigriva and Nalakuvar so that they could meet the Lord directly and thereby get special mercy. Anugraha Arthaya. When an affectionate mother wants to feed some son but finds him deeply sleeping, she will wake him by pinching him. My mother never did that to me, thankfully. Narad spoke in a loud voice, Jago, so that others would also benefit. Verse 8. Shri Narad Uvacha. Oh, and this is an important verse. Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj quotes this verse. This is how, what is it? Wealth bewilders intelligence more than all these other things, more than knowledge, like more than learning, more than, yeah, we'll go through it. Na Shri Narad Uvacha na hyano jushato joshyan buddhi branksho rajo guna Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam abhijatyadir yatra sri dyuttamasava. Narad Muni said, among all the attractions of material enjoyment, the attraction of riches bewilders one's intelligence more than having beautiful bodily features, taking birth in an aristocratic family, and being learned. When one is uneducated but falsely puffed up by wealth, the result is that one engages his wealth in enjoying wine, women, and gambling. Commentary. For the man absorbed in enjoying the attractive objects of the, so for a man absorbed in enjoying jushato, the attractive objects, joshan, of the material world, pride in taking birth in an aristocratic family, and being learned, do not destroy the intelligence as much as being intoxicated with wealth. In other words, attraction of riches completely destroys one's intelligence. Abhijati, birth in a high family generates excessive pride. Adir, knowledge also gives rise to pride. Rajaguna, since pride and wealth arises from the mode of passion, Rajagun, it is misverse. Pride in wealth induces one to commit many more sins than pride in family or knowledge. The various sins are mentioned in the following 4 verses: enjoying wine, women, and gambling. Verse 9. Unable to control their senses, rascals who are falsely proud of their riches or their birth in aristocratic families are so cruel that to maintain their perishable bodies, which they think will never grow old or die, they kill poor animals without mercy. Sometimes they kill animals merely to enjoy an excursion. Commentary. Although one sees old age and death before his eyes, he continues to think he'll never die. Verse 10. While living, one may be proud of one's body, thinking oneself a very big man, minister, president, or even demigod. But whatever one may be, after death, this body will turn either into worms, into stool, or into ashes. If one kills to satisfy the temporary whims of this body, one does not know that he'll suffer in his next. For such a sinful miscreant must go to hell and suffer the results of his actions. Commentary. A man may be a king, but at death he is eaten by dogs and others. If his sons do not burn him, he is eaten by worms and transformed into worm stool. If he is burned, he becomes ashes. One who whimsically kills poor animals does not know he will be punished for that killing and sent to hell. Verse 11. While alive, does this body belong to its employer, to the self, to the father, the mother, or the mother's father? Does it belong to the person who takes it away by force, to the slave master who purchases it, or to the sons who burn it in the fire? Or, if the body is not burned, does it belong to the dogs that eat it? Among the many possible claimants, who is the rightful claimant? Not to ascertain this, but instead body by sinful activities is not good. Commentary. This verse shows that many contradictions arise from not understanding the rightful owner of the body. Nishektur. This refers to the father who discharges semen to create the child. Is this body the well of the father, the mother, or father of the mother? Verse 12. This body, after all, is by the unmanifested nature and again annihilated and merged in the natural elements. Therefore, it is the common property one. Under the circumstances, who but a rascal claims this property as his own and while maintaining it, commits sinful activities as killing animals just to satisfy his whims. Unless one is a rascal, one cannot commit such sinful activities. Commentary. This body arises from and merges into Pradhan, the material cause of the universe. Who but an ignorant person will accept such a body as one's own and commit violence to animals? Verse 13. Atheist fools and rascals who are very much proud of wealth fail to see things as they are. Therefore, returning them to is the proper ointment for their eyes, so that they may see things as they are. At least a poverty-stricken man can realize how painful poverty is, and therefore not want others to be in a painful condition like his own. Commentary. This verse gives the remedy for the sickness of pride and wealth. Param here means only. Poverty is the only medicine to relieve a person from the blindness arising from pride and wealth. Atheistic fools and rascals who are very much proud of wealth fail to see things as they are. Therefore, returning them to poverty is the proper ointment for their eyes, so that they may see things as they are. At least a poverty-stricken man can realize how painful poverty is, and therefore he'll not want others to be in a painful condition like his own. Verse 14. Seeing their faces, one whose body is pricked by pins can understand the pain of others who are pinpricked. Realizing that this pain is the same for everyone, he does not want others to suffer in this way. But one who has never been pricked by pins cannot understand this pain. Commentary. By seeing the symptoms of one in pain, such as withering of the face or having experienced it oneself, one understands the nature of pain and thereby sympathizes with anyone experiencing pain. One who has not experienced being pierced by a thorn cannot understand the pain of others who are pinpricked. Verse 15. A poverty-stricken man must automatically undergo austerities and penances because he does not have the wealth to possess anything. Thus his false prestige is vanquished. Always in need of food, shelter, and clothing, he must be satisfied with what is obtained by the mercy of Providence. Undergoing such compulsory austerities is good for him, because it purifies him and completely frees him from false ego. Commentary. A poor man automatically practices detachment, which is necessary to attain liberation from material existence. This is expressed in 3 verses. The poor person is devoid of the false prestige that comes from possessing wealth, and he is free from pride in family and education. Verse 16. Always hungry, longing for sufficient food, a poverty-stricken man gradually becomes weaker and weaker. Having no extra potency, his senses are pacified. A poverty-stricken man, therefore, is unable to perform envious activities. In other words, such a man automatically gains the results of the austerities and penances adopted voluntarily by saintly persons. Verse 17. Saintly persons may freely associate with those who are poverty-stricken, but not with those who are rich. A poverty-stricken man, by association with saintly persons, very soon becomes uninterested in material desires, and the dirty things within the core of his heart are cleansed away. Commentary. One should not think that if the poor man has only one desire, that is enough to cause his downfall. If he has some relief. Being merciful by nature, Krishna's devotees are equal to the rich and poor, and therefore visit both. By associating with the devotee, the poor man gets the opportunity to hear about and worship the Supreme Lord. Thus, he becomes fortunate and advances in Krishna consciousness. However, a man intoxicated with his wealth derives no benefit from associating with the Lord's devotees. By the power of the devotees' association, the poor man tastes the nectar of devotion, and thus is his desire for material enjoyment. Verse 15 said that the poor man suffers due to fate, yadrichaya. But the devotee does not get suffering or bhakti by karma, for the devotee has no karma. I don't really understand. The devotee does not get suffering or bhakti by karma. Okay. I just, suffering and bhakti are such different. I must not be fully understanding this. Anyways, let's continue on. Verse 18. Only persons, sadhus, think of Krishna 24 hours a day. They have no other interest. Why should people neglect the association of such exalted spiritual personalities and try to associate with materialists, taking shelter of non-devotees, most of whom are proud and rich? Commentary. The devotee never develops a relationship with a wealthy man attached to his riches. Devotees give up the association of non-devotees who are afflicted by pride due to wealth, and who associate with and serve other non-devotees. However, the devotees do associate with wealthy persons who are devoid of pride and serve the Vaishnavas. Verse 19. Therefore, since these two persons drunk with liquor named Varuni or Madhvi, and since they are drunk with the liquor named Varuni or Madhvi, and they are unable to control their senses, they have been blinded by the pride of celestial opulence and have become attached to women. So I shall relieve them of their false prestige. Commentary. What then is the cure for of pride? After considering, Nara decided on the cure, presented it in 4 verses. Madhva means sweet. Tamo means ignorance. Nara thought, I will remove the ignorance of these 2 demigods intoxicated with sweet wine, blinded by pride and wealth, and overly attached to women. Verses 20 to 22. These 2 young men, Nalakuvar and Manigriv, are by fortune the sons of the great demigod Kuver. But because of false prestige and madness after drinking, they are so fallen that they are naked, but cannot understand that they are. Therefore, becoming like trees, for trees are naked but not conscious, these 2 men should receive the bodies of trees. This will be proper punishment. Nonetheless, after they become trees and until they are released, by my mercy they will have remembrance of their past sinful activities. Moreover, by my special favor, after the expiry of 100 years by the measurement of the demigods, they'll be able to see the Supreme Personality of God Vasudev face to face, and thus revive their real position as devotees. Commentary. Narad thought, these 2 demigods deserve to be placed in bodies that cannot move, such as trees, because they are manifesting the qualities of trees. They are standing naked, not performing any proper action because they do not move, and not speaking. But by my mercy, even in the bodies of trees, they will retain their memory. After standing as trees for 100 celestial years, they will receive darshan of Krishna, develop prem bhakti, and attain their original bodies as demigods. 23. Shukadev continued. Sorry. I'm so confused. Is there actually supposed to be a... Anyways. I'm just thinking of reading stuff, sorry. Shukadev Goswami continued. Having spoken, the great saint Devarshi Narad returned to him known as Narayan Ashram, and Nalakuver and Manigriv became twin Arjuna trees. Verse 24. The supremacy of Godhead, Sri Krishna, to fulfill the truthfulness of the words of the greatest devotee Narad, slowly went to that spot where the twin Arjuna trees were standing. One second. I just need to... Haribo Rukmini Didi and Rupmanjali Didi. Yeah, it is confusing. Bhakti, doesn't come from karma. Maybe the suffering prefers the idea of it. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand that either, but maybe someone prefers the idea that one devotee gets so. Yes, that makes sense for Ranjali Didi. Hasudevi Didi and Raj Bhuvan Yadav. Okay. Sorry, guys. Where Shukadev continued, having thus spoken, the great saint Devashi Narad returned to his ashram known as Narayan Ashram, and Nalakuvar and Manigriv became twin Arjuna trees. Supreme Personality, okay, verse 24. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, to fulfill the truthfulness of the words of the greatest devotee Narad, slowly went to that spot where the twin Arjuna trees were standing. Commentary. The preparations for fulfilling the curse are related in this verse. Verse 25. Although these two young men are the sons of the very rich Kuvera, and I have nothing to do with them, Devarshi Narad is my very dear and affectionate devotee, and therefore, because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance. Commentary. Krishna thought, because Narad is my dear devotee, I will fulfill his words by giving these two demigods whatever was promised by that great soul. Tad Mahatmana. Verse 26. Having thus spoken, Krishna soon entered between the two Arjuna trees, and thus the mortar to which he was bound turned crosswise and stuck between them. Commentary. Thinking in this way, Krishna went between the two Arjuna trees so that the mortar turned crosswise and got stuck. Verse 27. By dragging behind him with great force the wooden mortar tied to his belly, the boy Krishna uprooted the two trees. By the great strength of the Supreme Person, trees with their trunks, leaves, and branches trembled severely and fell to the ground with a great crash. Great crash. Commentary. Damodar uprooted the two trees by very forcefully pulling the mortar which drags behind him. By the tremendous power of Krishnas with their trunks, leaves, branches, they trembled severely and fell to the ground. According to Harivangsha, that's according to Harivangsha, I guess. No, that's Mama, sorry. According to Vangsha, Krishna is called Damodar because of being bound up. Tenaiva nam tu Krishna vai dama bandhanat goshte damodara iti gopi bhi parigiyate. Verse 28. One second. Okay. Thereafter, in that very place where the two Arjuna trees had fallen, two great perfect personalities who appeared like fire personified came out of the two trees. The effulgence of their beauty illuminating all directions, with bowed heads, they offered obeisances to Krishna, and with hands folded, they spoke the following words. Commentary. The persons emerging from the trees lit up the four directions with the beautiful effulgence of their bodies, which mixed together like fire personified. Cool. Verse 29. O Lord Krishna, Krishna Krishna, your opulent mysticism is inconceivable. You are the supreme original person, the cause of all causes, immediate and remote, and you are beyond this material creation. Learned Brahmins know on the basis of the Vedic statement Sarva Kalavidam Brahma that you are everything, and that this causation and its gross and subtle aspects is your form. Commentary. At this time, Krishna could have asked him, why are you two demigods paying respects to me, a mere cowherd boy tied to a mortar? They answer with this verse. The word Krishna is repeated twice to indicate that the demigods spoke together. Okay. Nalakuvar and Manigriv prayed, you are the Supreme Person, Bhagavan. Although appearing as a cowherd boy, you are the original Swayambhavan. O master of mysticism, it is inconceivable how you have become bound. Since you can liberate us, how is it possible for you? Since you can liberate us, how is it possible for the very form of the universe to be bound up? With this intention, they speak this verse. Verses 30 to 31. And I wonder if there's anything for July 15th is Bhakti Hriday Bhanu. Okay. Sorry. Personality of Godhead, the controller of everything. The body, light, ego, and senses of every living entity are your own self. You are the Supreme Person, Vishnu, the imperishable controller. You are the time factor, the immediate cause, and you are material nature consisting of the three modes of passion, goodness, and ignorance. You are the original cause of this material manifestation. You are the Supersoul, and therefore you know everything within the core of the heart of every living entity. Commentary. Nalakubar and Manigriv Krang. No one but you is the cause of bondage. You are the Lord of all because everything is within you. You are thus the Lord of the body, the life force, and the ego of every living entity. You are time and the cause of all action. You are material nature. You are also the Supersoul and know everything within the minds of every living entity. Therefore, you are the one and only Bhagavan, the controller of everything. Verse 32. O Lord, you exist before the creation. Therefore, who, trapped by a body of material qualities in this material world, can understand you? Commentary. You can be seen only by your mercy. Practically, you are invisible. You are not perceivable by the intelligence and senses because they arise from the modes of material nature. Because they arise from the modes of nature. Since you are transcendental, no one within this world can know you. You are the cause of the living entity, but he is covered by the modes of material nature. However, your devotee, who transcends the modes of nature by practicing bhakti, can realize something of your unlimited qualities. Verse 33. O Lord, whose glories are covered by your own energy, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are Sankarshan, the origin of creation, and you are Vasudev, the origin of the Chaturvyuha. Because you are everything and are therefore the Supreme Brahman, we simply offer our respectful obeisances to you. Commentary. Since you are difficult to know, we simply offer our respects. That is the intention of this verse. We offer respects to you, the creator of the universe. Because of the covering of the three modes of nature, it is very difficult to know you. As the sun is covered by clouds, which are created by the sun, similarly, you are covered by your own energy, which is created by you. Verses 34 to 35. Appearing in bodies like those of an ordinary fish, tortoise, and hog, you exhibit activities impossible for such creatures to perform. Extraordinary, comparable, transcendental activities of unlimited power and strength. These bodies of yours, therefore, are not made of material elements, but are incarnations of your Supreme Personality. You are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have now appeared potency for the benefit of all in this material world. I'm sorry, the reason why I'm looking is because I want to read something about Prabodhananda Saraswati. But I'll read from Sri Chaitanya and Associates. Okay, commentary. Krishna replies to the two demigods. Yes, I am the Supreme Lord, but by what characteristics do you discern me as the Supreme? Their answer is given in this verse. Nalakuvar and Manigriv continue. Though you have no material body, known through the remarkable exploits you exhibit in various forms, like a fish and turtle. You are the avatari, the source of all avatars, because while playing as a baby with just a small drop of your strength, you uprooted 2 trees as strong as Arjuna, which 1,000 hands could not uproot. You also have given supernatural strength to the mortar. You, the fulfiller of all desires, have appeared with all your potencies and different parts and parcels, such as Shiva and Brahma, for the elevation and liberation of everyone. Verse 36. O supremely, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you, who are the supreme good. O most famous descendant and controller of the Yadu dynasty, O son of Vasudeva, O most peaceful, offer our obeisances unto your lotus feet. Commentary. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, who give the supreme auspiciousness of Prem Bhakti to the living entities. Actually, everything you do brings the topmost good to all. Parama Mangala. Verse 37. O Supreme Form, we are always servant of your servants, especially of Narad Muni. Now please give us permission to leave for our home. Now give us permission to our home. It is by the grace and mercy of Narad Muni that we have been able to see you face to face. Commentary. We are your followers, your anuchar, and the servants, the kinkaro of your most confidential devotee, Narad. Okay, this is an important verse. This is how may our senses serve you. So let's read the Sanskrit. Vani unanu katane shavano katayam hasto chakarma sumanastava padayorna smrityam shirastava nivasa jagat praname trishti satang tashanestu bhagavatsai trishti satang tashanestu bhavatanunam. I don't know what I'm having. Trishti satang tashanestu bhagavat. I guess there's a, I don't remember there being a syllable missing before. Anyways, translation. Henceforward, may all our words be your pastimes. May our ears engage in oral reception of your glories. Hands, legs, and other senses engage in actions pleasing to you. Minds always think of your lotus feet. May our heads offer our obeisances to everything within this world, because all things are also your, and may our eyes see the forms of Vaishnavas who are none different from you. Commentary. Since we are your followers and Narad's servants, you should be very merciful to us, for something rarely given to others. May our words, our vani, be always engaged in describing your qualities, guna katani, and nothing else. May our minds always remember your beautiful lotus feet. May our heads pay respects to everything within this world, and especially to devotees such as Narad. Taking the Nivasa Jagat as vocative, O abode of the universe, may our eyes be engaged in seeing your forms, and those of seeing your forms and those of your devotees, such as Narad. So I think here it's saying respects to everything within this world, seeing everything as an emanation of Krishna. So it's actually not, it's not just a dead object, but giving it to the source of the object, saying Krishna and everything. Okay, verse 39. Shukadeva Goswami continued. The 2 young demigods thus offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Shri Krishna, Supreme Godhead, is the master of all and was certainly Gokuleshwar, the master of Gokul, he was bound to the wooden mortar by the ropes of the gopis. And therefore, smiling widely, he spoke to the sons of Kuvera the following words. Commentary. Kirtita means completely glorified. Damna cha hints at being bound not only by ropes, but by prem too. Prahasan means that Krishna smiled very sweetly, while things two minor demigods had become bound up by his Maya. Krishna thought, they are praising me for freeing them from bondage, but Mother Yashoda binds up and scolds me instead of praising me. Still, out of love, I stay in Gokul. The chastisements of the Vrajvasis please me much more than the praises I'm receiving from these sons of Kuber. Verse 40. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. That's a sweet purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the great Saint Narad Muni, let me just check the Hare Krishna Shastra. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the great Narad Muni is very merciful. First, he showed the greatest favor to both of you, who were mad after material opulence and who had thus become blind. Although you fell from the higher planet Swargaloka and became trees, you were most by him. I knew of all these incidents from the very beginning. Commentary. Narad gave mercy to Nalakuvar and Manigriv by destroying their opulence through his instructions, starting with verse 8. Verse 41. When one is face to face with the Sangha darkness for one's eyes. Similarly, when one is face to face with a sadhu, a devotee, who is fully determined and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one will no longer be subject to material bondage. Commentary. How is it possible that Narad bestowed mercy upon these two rogues? This verse answers the question. One is released from material bondage by seeing those who are not disturbed by respect or disrespect, and those who have offered their minds completely to me. Instead of darshanan no, there is another reading, darshanan anta. In that case, it means that one's bondage will continue unless he sees a devotee. Just as the sun destroys the darkness just by rising, one's bondage is destroyed immediately upon seeing a devotee. However, it should be understood from this example that even though the sun rises, darkness will not be dissipated if a person is blind. Similarly, if one commits nam apad, as in the case of the demons, he will not be released from bondage even if he sees Narad Muni. That's heavy. If one commits nam aparad, as in the case of the demons, he will not be released from bondage even if he sees Narad Muni. So nam aparad is actually the cause of our not getting released by the association of pure devotees. That's what's blocking us from being benefited by the association. Is really heavy. O Nalakuvar and Manigriv, now you may both return home. Since you tried to... Actually, I just want to save that. One second. I'll just put it in the inbox. Nam aparad quote. Sorry. Okay. Verse 4. O Nalakuvar and Manigriv, now you may, since you desire to be always absorbed in my devotional service, your desire to develop an affection for me will be fulfilled. And now you will never fall from that platform. Commentary. Though two brothers were present, Krishna spoke to the chief one. O Nalakuvar, you may now return to your home. But since you deserve me, your domestic life will no longer entangle you in Maya. Verse 43. Shukadeva Goswami said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead had spoken to the two demigods in this way. They circumambulated the Lord, who is bound to the wood and mortar, and offered obeisances to him. After taking the permission of Lord Krishna, they returned to their respective homes. Commentary. Baddolukalam means he who is bound to the mortar. Thus ends the commentary on the 10th chapter of the Canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. All right, tomorrow we will read Srila Prabhupada's commentary on chapter 11, the childhood pastimes of Krishna. And this has a few pastimes. I think it has the story of the fruit seller lady. Forgot what the other ones were. 3 pastimes in here, though. Anyways, we'll get to it tomorrow. Now, since it's the disappearance day of Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati, I want to, where is this? Okay, I'm going to see what there is in this book. Yes, it was very intense. Hari Bol for Jumna Prabhu and Mantra Murti Mataji. Let me turn on my light here. Okay, 1 second. I so love this book. If anybody ever comes to India, this book is only 600 rupees at Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. They sell it for print price. How much is 600 rupees? That's not even $10, and it's a big, thick, really high quality printed book. How much is $600? Just checking. How much is 600 rupees in dollars?
It's $7.53.
This book is $7.53 in India. Well, only at Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. At Ras Bihari Lal, it's double price. Okay, so let's see. There, page 315. So I don't have a phone anymore, so I can't read it with me. You're just gonna have to look at me reading. Let's see, how long is this? Oh my God, this is long. This is super long. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to read all of it. Okay. So this is, I'm reading from Sri Chaitanya and His Associates, or Parshad Charitavali, by Śrīmad Bhakti Balavat Goswami Maharaj. Tunga Vidya Vrajayasit Sarva Shastra Visharada Sa Prabodhananda Yad Gorodgana Saraswati. The Gopi Tungavidya, who is most learned in all the scriptures, has today become the sannyasi Prabodhananda, whose words are all used in the glorification of Lord Gauranga. It's Gaur Ganadashtipika 163. And now, this is from Bhakti Ratnakar. Venkata Bhatta lived in South India. He held a special position amongst the Brahmins as he was very learned in all the scriptures. It's Bhakti Ratnakar 182. And this is Chaitanya Charitamrita 2982. There was a Vaishnava of the Sri Sampradaya named Venkata Bhatta who respectfully invited the Lord to his house. Okay. In his commentary on this verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's that's Madhya 982, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written, the 3 brothers Venkata Bhatta, Trimalla Bhatta, and Prabodhananda Saraswati were previously acharyas of the Sri Sampradaya. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was the son of Venkata Bhatta. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Ṭhākura Prabhupada has also commented on the same verse. Sri Venkata Bhatta was a Brahmana of the Sri Sampradaya who lived in Sri Rangam. Srirangam is situated in Tamil Nadu, where people do not use the names Venkata and Tirumalai, the name of Venkata's brother. So it is likely they came from elsewhere. This family had possibly moved to Srirangam not long before Mahaprabhu's visit there. Venkata Bhatta belonged to the Varagalai branch of the Ramanuja Sampradaya. One of his brothers was Tridandi Ramanujiyarya Swami, Shripad Prabodhananda Saraswati. Okay, so he was a Ramanujiya Arya Swami, Shripad Prabodhananda Saraswati, who acted as an acharya of the school. Venkata Bhatta's son was Gopal Bhatta Goswami. These three brothers were originally worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan, but they were converted to the worship of Radha and Krishna by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has described this conversation beautifully in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati's disciple was his own nephew, Gopal Bhatta, one of the 6 Goswamis. Okay, now this is a verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas 1-2. Bhakter vilasang chinute prabodha nandasya shishyo bhagavat priyasya Gopala bhatto raghunatha dasam santoshayan rupa sanatanocha. So this is the second verse of Hari Bhakti Vilas. I, Gopal Bhatta, the disciple of Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is dear to the Lord, have compiled these most essential and glorious devotional doctrines to satisfy Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami. So he calls himself Prabodhanandasya Shishyo. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati wrote a number of books, including Vrindavan Shatakam, Navadip Shatakam, Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, and Chaitanya Chandaramrita, which are especially loved by Rasik devotees. Some of his other works, as listed in Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidan, are Sangita Madhav, Ashcharya Ras Prabandha, Shruti Stuti Vakya, Gita Govinda Vyakyan, and Kama Bij Kama Gayatri Vyakyan. Is Prabodhananda Prakashananda? This is a very relevant topic because many of our senior devotees in my Gurudev Sangha, unfortunately, we're going every day to hear from this respected Vaishnava. He's a definitely respected Vaishnava, and I give honor to him, but he's in the Atibadi line following Rupa Kaviraj, and in his line they say that Prabodhananda and Prakashananda are the same person. And so, yeah. Let's see. Is Prabodhananda Prakashananda? And my Gurudev wrote a whole detail on this topic in Prabandha Panchakam, which wasn't in the original Prabandha Panchakam that we did in English, but it's in his Hindi. And so now Srivas is translating an article on this topic. And it will be published soon. Is Prabodhananda Prakashananda in his Gaudiya Bhashya to Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya 3:37, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Ṭhākura Prabhupada makes the following observation. Prakashananda was a teacher of the Mayavad doctrine and a sannyasi. During his discourses on the Veda, he would cut the Lord's divine and transcendental body into pieces. Some ignorant people say that this Prakashananda is the same person as Venkata Bhatta's younger brother Prabodhananda, who lived on the banks of the Kaveri. This erroneous belief has found its way into the Sahajya text Bhakta Mala, and even into the writings of many modern scholars. Ashutosh Dev states in his Bengali dictionary that Prabodhananda was a Vaishnava philosopher whose real name was Prakashananda Saraswati. Chaitanya Dev gave him the name Prabodhananda. Furthermore, Haridas Das has also written in his Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidan. Some people hold that Prabodhananda is the Vaishnava name given to Prakashananda. it is quite clear from the last verse of Radha-das-Sudhanidhi that Prabodhananda had at one time been a Mayavadi sannyasi. Wow. And that's why Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidan is so often used as as a reference for things, but we have to understand that it can be helpful, but we don't take everything from it as fact. I use it also all the time, Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidan, but it's not an fully authoritative. We would argue that the words to which Haridas Das refers, Mayavad Darka Tapa Santapta, roasted by the burning sun of impersonalism, are not acceptable as proof of Prabodhananda's former adherence to impersonalist philosophy or of his having been a Mayavadi at one time. Mahaprabhu and all of his followers argued against the impersonal doctrines because of its extreme opposition to devotion. The Lord's deliverance of the Mayavadis, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakashananda Saraswati, are even greater feats of mercy than the salvation of Jagai and Madhai. Wow, that's pretty strong. The Lord's deliverance of the Mayavadis, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakashananda Saraswati, are even greater feats of mercy than the salvation of Jagai and Madhai. In this spirit, Prabodhananda is simply glorifying Mahaprabhu's quality as the deliverer of the most fallen, and drawing attention to just how far-reaching his mercy is. Okay, I'm just going to read this one section because they already rang the prasad bell and I don't want to be late. And it's already 8:30, so I'm just one more section here. You can probably find this online though, actually. And read. Prabodhananda comes to live in Vraj. A few years after Mahaprabhu had returned to Puri, Prabodhananda Saraswati entered deep into the mode of worship that is dear to Mahaprabhu. He left Sri Rangam and went to live in Kamyavan in the Mathura region without much delay. Gopal Bhatta also gradually developed an intense desire to come and live in Vraj, and so he followed the path taken by his uncle and guru. Many people ask, if Nanda Saraswati was so dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why is his name not mentioned anywhere in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita? Would Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami not have included the pastimes of such a great personality to the pleasure of the Vaishnavas? We can find an adequate expression in the Bhakti Ratnakar. Śrīla Cakravarṭi Ṭhākura writes, some people have described the activities of Gopal Bhatta, while others have not. Those who cannot understand the reason for this engage in useless arguments. The result that they allow an offensive attitude to take root in them. Previously, great Rasik devotee poets who were quite capable of describing these things did not do so in order that others would be able to do so in the future. Gopal Bhatta enthusiastically gave his approval to the writing of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but would not allow Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to write anything about him. Who can understand why he did this? He always considered himself very lowly. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was not able to ignore his commands. That's from Bhakti Ratnakar 1, 209 to 223. Okay, I just want to read this one more section. Sorry. Okay. Prabodhananda and Swakiya Ras. Some Rupanuga Vaishnavas say that Prabodhananda Saraswati's writing shows a tendency to the Swakiya doctrine. Thus, they do not show a great enthusiasm for studying his books in the conviction that Rupa Goswami's Parakiya Bhavad is superior. We hold that anyone who is devoted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is blessed, and so we simply follow Narahari Cakravarṭi, a neutral commentator, and avoid useless argument. And by doing so, we relish the pure surrender mood of Prabodhananda Saraswati towards Mahaprabhu and the sweetness of servitude of Srimati Radhika to Sri Krishna in the Parakiya mood. Prabodhananda Saraswati's writings are rich with transcendental emotions, and the language contains solemnity. Is that how you say it? Solemnity. Anyways, they're solemn, and they contain a gravity, sweetness of divine love in equal measure. Mahaprabhu's devotees take great pleasure in reading Prabodhananda Saraswati's Vrindavan Shatak. His Navadvip Shatak resembles this work, glorifying Navadvip in the same spirit. Actually, some people say that Navadvip Shatak was done by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura or somebody, and they just switched the words to make it relate to Navadvip. But actually, it's originally just the Vrindavan Shatak. I don't know if that's true, though. His Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi is truly unequaled in the entire world. Those who have appreciation only from a purely literary point of view may not regard this work highly. Nevertheless, it is extremely dear to the devotees who are simple, free from hypocrisy, and attached to the mellows of devotion to Lord Hari. One experiences a work as being superior or inferior according to one's taste. Thus, the transcendental moods of Raj Bhakti can only have readers who have accumulated pious activities in their previous lives. In his notices of manuscripts, Professor Offret attributes another book, Vivek Shatak, to Prabodhananda Saraswati. The manuscript was in the possession of the late Ramdas Sain of Behrampur. Offret also lists Sangita Madhav as one of Prabodhananda Saraswati's works. We managed to trace this work and published it in Sajantoshani, volume 18, 5 to 12, pages 5 to 12, I guess, or issues 5 to 12. I don't know. The Chaitanya Chandramrita was widely distributed in Bengal. Even those inimical to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became purified upon reading and experienced a change of heart. It thus goes without saying that those who are his devotees will immerse in an ocean of indescribable ecstasy when they read it. Indeed, it is not surprising. If the Lord of Goloka comes and stays in someone's house and accepts his service for 4 whole months, would he not bestow the rarest forms of love of Godhead upon his entire household? The blessed members of such a household naturally possess an abundance of priceless love, from which we insignificant living entities, to our great benefit, may hope to gain some leftover crumbs. So there are 2 more sections in here that I don't have time to read now, but it's Srila Prabhupada's introduction to Chaitanya Chandamrita, and also more about Prakashananda Saraswati. But I'm going to end here. If you would like to read those 2 sections, I think it's probably on bvlmlu.org. Right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai. Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Gurudev ki Jai. Nitya Vishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Vishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Vishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shishmar Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Vishtam Mahabhagavat Srila Gokshwaras Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura ki Jai. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Pada Das Raghunath. Shraddha Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Raya Ramananda Rishi Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai, Nama Chai Śrīla Ṭhākura ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishta Bhradati Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun ki jai, Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Prabodhananda Saraswati Ṭhākura ki jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirubhav Titi ki jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Chaturmasa Vrat ki jai, Vrat Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyairacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow. Something I'm trying to I want to start doing more often is when I'm reading or listening or just taking in any kind of harikatha or any information that's valuable, that I want to actually take it, because I've read so much, I've heard so many classes, so many things, but nothing sticks. And so it's all kind of useless. Well, I wouldn't say it's entirely useless, but it's pretty useless, because I don't really keep any of it. And so I really, like, whenever I come across anything very, like, interesting, noteworthy in any purport or anything, then I got this book called Building a Second Brain, and it's all about how to capture any useful information, quickly capture any information that you get, and then how to organize it, and then how to take the essence of it, and then how to express it. It's very interesting. And so, yeah, I'm really hoping to master this technique of building a second brain. And there's all these different kinds of apps that you can use, and he categorizes 3 kinds of note takers. Gardener, I think I already mentioned, right? Anyways, so yeah, if anybody else is interested in this, I think it'd be really helpful for any of our studying or anything like that. All right, Dandavat pranams. I think they do have it in Audible, and yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, we're already doing it. We're already taking in information. It's just we're not capturing it nicely. But yeah, I'm just starting it, so I haven't implemented it all yet. I figured out that I am a gardener type of note taker, and so the best app for that is Obsidian, I think, Obsidian or Roam, and so I got Obsidian, and now I'm gonna try to build my second brain. I'll let you know how it goes. And then for the librarian types of note takers, then Evernote is really good. For the architect types of note takers, Notion is really good. But yeah, if you're interested to know more, you can send me a message, and I can share some things with you. Champak Didi, if you're interested, you can message me. All right, I'm gonna go for prasad now. See you all tomorrow. Hari Bol. The thing is, I don't study effectively, so then it ends up not being very useful. So now I really want to learn how to study properly. Hari Bol. And then when it comes to putting out articles on Vine of Devotion, or in the future when I get a camera, when it comes to making videos, I don't really need to do that much preparation. I just, all this information I get is like Legos, and I can just get different pieces of information and build them in different ways, and then be able to present them. And yeah, it will make the whole process a lot. There's so much to say. I'm gonna go now. Hari Bol.